You know, it's hard to say what's wrong today, but everyone and their grandmother has something to say about how things were different way back then, and we won't get that golden era again. And you can write volumes about the private renters, double recession, the closure of community centres, the lost generation, the X, Y and Z, the people above us, the powers that be. The table is tilted, stacked deck, loaded dice, millions only living on what their means will suffice. And it's 10 for the wolf and 4 for the shepherd, who voted twice to change the spots of a leopard. When we have power in numbers, and yet act so meekly. So strange to see a legion who simply clap weakly. An odd year for all, and one of small favours when half the nation, it seems, became aware they had neighbours. But amidst that, the camaraderie, the looking out for each other, it's hard to forget the man who cried out for his mother. And the turnout, the rebellion for the neck crushed by limb. In Bristol Harbour we saw a dead man suddenly go for a swim. And it's strange to think about, a cause of agitation when people argue we're hell-bent on self-annihilation. But if you need help, then you just need to ask. No one cared who we were until we put on our masks.
Hello and welcome to our third edition of the Virtual Arts Cafe. We're here at Woodcock Lane Allotments, enjoying the sunshine while we can. Today we started the show with a local spoken word artist by the name of Charlie Cheety, and he's based right here in Acocks Green. Thank you, Charlie, that was excellent. Coming up on today's show, we speak to Fran from Acocks Green in Bloom about their work to improve and enhance the environment across Acocks Green. We'll be heading over to Centrala, who will be showing us how to make Romanian food. Becky from Birmingham Play Care Network will be joining us to explain her role in this project. We'll be back with Kelly, who will be showing us another paper flower creation. And finally, you might see me popping up again with my musical hat on. So while I grab some water, let's head over to Acocks Green Men's Shed at Fox Holly's Forum. So, Dave, I've had a lovely time meeting the gentleman inside. It's a nice banter going on. So tell me a little bit about the shed. How long has it been going and who started it? Whose idea was it?
Okay, well, the forum is run by a chap called Dave Swingle, and he had some space in these buildings here, and he knew that Pete Travis, who's our chairman now, had some contact with sheds, and he contacted Pete and said, what about it? Do you think it's possible we could have a men's shed here? And Pete knew that I was involved with him at King's Heath, and he contacted me, so it's a chain event really.
Okay.
And we got together and thought, yeah, let's give it a go.
Okay.
And that was about, what, two and a half years ago here when we started off.
Right.
The first phase was building all the benches, which we've done before elsewhere.
Yes.
So it got done quite quickly.
Yes. And I understand that it's called The Shed, not actually Man's Shed.
Yeah, well, we've been using both terms, I'm afraid, which is rather confusing for people. So I think on our website, on the website and on Facebook, we call it the Men's Shed, but on the sign here it says The Shed.
Right.
But the most important thing is that anyone's welcome. We tend to focus on the older people because older people suffer more with loneliness and isolation.
Right.
But any of any age can come along when we got the space for it. But of course with COVID it's rather difficult. We haven't got the space to do social distancing for very many people. When we've got that sorted out and get some more assistants like supervisors, then we can invite more people along.
Right. So how regularly do you meet?
Currently we're meeting on a Monday and a Wednesday,
Right.
and we're full up, as you can see from what you've seen earlier on in the shed.
Yeah. And so what kind of things do you do?
That's an interesting question. Until recently, we've only been doing woodwork. It's a staple of most sheds. They start with woodwork because it's the easiest thing to do. You can get wood, it's cheap to buy. If you mess it up, you can chuck it in the bin and start again. So that's where that's where we started, because we had nothing else to run with.
Right.
But 2 or 3 of us quite like working with metal. And so when the last lot of grant funding came through, we thought we really should do something for metal. So we bought some equipment so we can bend metal, make shapes of metal without heating it.
Wow.
If we want to heat metal, then the insurance costs go up, skyrocket. They really go up massively. And so we'd love to do it, but we can't.
Right.
Just imagine having a forge where you can beat metal on the anvil after you're heating it up. Really great, but impossible. We have had quite a lot of members here over a period of time. Some haven't come back yet because they're nervous about catching the virus, obviously. But some of those who have been along, for example, one lady called Carol, when she came to us, first of all, hasn't touched tools at all since she left school. And having shown her how to use a mallet and a chisel and a saw, ordinary hand tools, she took to it straight away. And within the first few weeks, she made a roll-along toy for her grandson, and then she was making a kind of step ladder device for putting plants on, and she didn't quite finish that before COVID came, sadly. That's one example of somebody who comes along and just takes it straight away.
Yeah.
Other people come along, other gentlemen in particular, and they think they know how to do it all, and they make a mess straight away, and it puts them off. So there's a lot of encouragement going on, so that they feel they can actually achieve something. We tend to try and set them something really simple to start with, and once that's been achieved, they feel, I can do this.
That's brilliant. That's really, really good. Okay, Dave, so during this lockdown, how have you managed to stay in touch with the people that come here?
That's been quite difficult initially, but the 3 managers here, as it were, Pete and Michael and myself, decided that we would take a number of our members each, and we'd contact them by phone every so often. And that worked quite well for some time. Sadly, I've let the group down because I had an illness which meant I couldn't carry on doing that. But ringing up people, it's quite interesting, because the first comment back from people, thanks for ringing, it's nice to hear you. And we would ask them how they're getting on with the COVID, have they got any needs, for example, that we can put them in touch with somebody to meet, like, can you get your shopping delivered? And on some occasions we managed to facilitate that for them. But overall, it's a matter of people being glad they've been remembered, I think.
Thank you to ACOTS Green's Men's Shed. It's great to know that you're able to meet up together again and be COVID compliant. We're now going to head over to Centrala, who are going to show us some cooking inspiration.
Hi there, my name is Răzvan and today we're gonna make Romanian papanaș. The ingredients are 250 grams of sweet cottage cheese, 150 grams of breadcrumbs, 2 or 3 spoons of sugar, 2 or 3 spoons of semolina, 1 egg and 2 or 3 vanilla flavor drops. First step is to mix the egg with sweet cottage cheese, semolina and vanilla. If the cottage cheese is not hard enough, make sure you drain it beforehand. Alternatively, add more semolina to the mix to make it harder. It should be hard enough to allow you to shape it into small balls. 2. Wet your hands and shape the mixture into small balls. 3. Put 2 liters of water to boil. Once the water reaches the boiling point, you can add the papanaș in. They are ready to take out when they start floating. The final step is to melt butter in a pan, add the breadcrumbs and sugar and start rolling your papanaș into the mixture until they are covered. Enjoy your papanash warm and serve them with jam and sour cream.
That looks really delicious. I might even try that myself. If you have a go at that recipe, let us know how you get on. We're now going to hand over to Becky, who's going to tell us about her involvement with the Building Community Together project.
Hi, I'm Becky Coley from Birmingham Playcare Network. I'm the Community Engagement Officer for the Building Community Together project. I work in partnership with Stopfield Community Association and Arts in the Yard. My role is to support the project with a particular focus on making links with local organisations, community groups, residents and volunteers. For those of you I haven't yet made a link with, I'll be in touch shortly. My role is to find out how best we can support and nurture local organisations and residents through this challenging time and beyond. I shall be on hand to offer support and help throughout the project. I also look forward to developing local volunteering that is embedded within your community. Residents are invited to volunteer in all elements of our project, from the arts cafe and play sessions to tea dances and virtual workshops. Stopfield Community Association also host regular multi-agency group meetings, which welcomes new organisations to join us to network and share information on current initiatives and services that organisations are offering on the Stopfield estate and wider Acocks Green area. If you would like to get involved, volunteer or would just like more information, please email me at beckycbct@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from everybody and updating you on our progress in the future. See you soon, everybody.
It was great to meet Becky and find out how you can get involved with the project. So now we're going to go over to Kelly and see how to make another beautiful flower.
Hello, for today we're going to be making this flower. So for this you're going to need a selection of coloured paper, some glue, a pair of scissors and a cocktail stick. So first of all, we are going to roll your stem. For this you'll need some paper. Now I've only got small sheets which are 15 by 15, so just for today I have glued them together. Then what you want to do, you want to get a cocktail stick and start from the corner rolling in to make a stem. And you keep rolling that until you get to the end. When you get to the end, pop a bit of glue on to keep it all together. Then if you put that on the side, we'll come back to that a bit later. So out of all my colour sheets, I chose to do a yellow one today. So what you'll need to do is you'll need to cut the sheet down the centre till you're left with a thin stem strip. Then fold your piece of paper in half. Right, leaving the open bit at the top, you're going to cut several strips into the paper, but if you leave about ½ centimetre at the end, like this. Then keep going until you get all the way to the bottom. So for today we're going to use 2 of these because I'm going to make it slightly bigger than the original one. So you want to open up your paper, flatten it out a bit. Then you want to flip it over and pop a bit of glue down the one end. You then want to fold it over. Don't crease this back over because you want to keep it so they've got some curve to them. It should look like this. Pop that on the side where you do the second one. Do the same, flip it over. Pop a bit of glue down the edge. And fold it over. We're now going to add this to your stem. So for this, what you need to do is add some more glue to the edge of your petals. And then you're going to start rolling it onto the end of your stem. Now as you're rolling it on, you want to start to slowly come down the stem. Just keep following it down. So that is your one. Now you're going to do the same with the other one. And you're going to just start where you finished and do the same thing. Coming down the stem again. And then you should have something that looks a bit like this. Now you want to make the leaves for the bottom. So for this you need another square. You need to cut out a little section. Then you want to start cutting some leaves into it. pull all the bits off. Now using your scissors, you just want to curve some of these edges. This. So we're now going to add some glue onto the base. And then again, we're going to just roll it around the stem. And there we have it. There's your flower. Now you can use several different colours. You can do just a single one, which is here, and a single one there. And then we will add these to the rest of our vases and our other flowers. That's it for this session. See you next time.
Thank you, Kelly. Another beautiful flower to add to our collection. Earlier, we spoke to Fran, who told us about Acots Green in Bloom. Hi, Fran. Can you tell us a little bit about Acots Green in Bloom and how you got involved?
Yes, I'd successfully organised the neighbourhood entry for Hazelwood Road in 2007. And then we had a new bid manager in Acots Green, Sandy Gianni, and she'd heard about this. And she asked me, would I organise one in Acots Green Village? And which I did, and you know we gained bronze the first year, and we subsequently gained gold for the last 4 years.
And can you tell us a little bit about your first big project?
Yes, our first big project was the community orchard in Mallard Close. Mallard Close is in between two blocks of shops right in the centre of Acots Green Village, but it had got a horrible dumped-on piece of land right next to a primary school. So obviously the residents have been up in arms about this, so we thought, yes, we'll do that. That's our first major project. So we enlisted the help of many residents in Acots Green, and every Sunday we had about 20 people coming along to dig over the plot with us. And out of this plot we dug out great big concrete slabs, rubble, metal of all sorts, keys, locks, and we even dug out a false eyelash.
Oh, really?
But then we set to, and we created a community orchard by planting dwarf rooting fruit trees. We planted apples, plums, damsons, pears, and we also planted items such as raspberries and gooseberries. And we also put in a central raised bed for herbs. Then along came the headmaster of Archbishop Ilsley School and said, would you like one of our art pupils to paint you a mural on the wall? Oh, of course we would. Now this really reflected the orchard. It reflected the paths, it reflected the trees, it reflected the wildflowers that we planted in April. And she sat there throughout 2 weeks in a really hot July painting this mural. She also put a couple of rabbits in, which obviously we don't see in Acots Green anymore.
Wonderful.
So we also had some support from the police. They gave us some funding, and E.H. Smith stepped in and they donated all the bricks for our raised bed.
Fabulous.
So it was a real community project.
So when you go into Acots Green to do shopping or go to a restaurant, you can't help but notice that huge roundabout. Always looks wonderful. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I can. Prior to us taking over the Britain in Bloom campaign, the council had gardened on 4 beds on the island. But 2 of the beds they wanted to grass over, so we said, no, don't grass them over, we'll take them on as a bloom team. So both of the beds we had to plant with perennials, because we didn't want to keep swapping and changing, putting annuals in like the council do. But we also had to respect the fact that we needed ones that would tolerate drought, because we were going to have to be doing the watering, not the council with their large water wagons. So basically we set about planting the one bed with a ring of heuchera on the outside, purple in colour, and then inset with the hardy geraniums, both pink and blue. Also the spires of Veronica, in addition to Sedum spectabile, the red sedum, and also Japanese anemone, which tower in the centre of the bed. Beautiful. So we got. Oh, sorry, I forgot about the Erysimum Bowles mauve. They really are the centre attraction. They flower more or less throughout the year. So we have got successional planting on that one bed. The other bed was a rose bed, and we left the roses in, but we underplanted again with drought-tolerant plants such as Nepeta, which is catmint, as people know it as catmint, Geranium macorrhizome, which is the lovely pink flowering geranium, which tolerates really tremendous drought. And we also put in the centre, we put the Elenium lemon queen for height in the centre. And we also planted with tulip bulbs in that bed and the other bed, so we'd have some really good spring colour.
And what about that lovely metal artwork there? Who designed that?
That was designed by one of our team members, Veronica Treadwell. And it depicted the fact that Yardley had more trees than any other area in Birmingham, because the central part of it is a tree trunk with branches running off, showing railway wagons and canal barges. These were the items which had brought prosperity to Acocks Green in the past, and therefore reflected a lot of the history of Acocks Green.
Brilliant. Okay, so what are you working on this year?
Well, this year we've completed a project on the Triabout near Alton. This is an area that forms the entrance into Birmingham from Solihull, and also the entrance into Acocks Green from Alton, which is very important for the image of the area. Basically, it was really run down, it was quite scruffy looking. We called on the council and the highways division, and they came along. One of our councillors, John O'Shea, came along, and and Lewis Cashmore from Highways came along. And we had a meeting, and we told them the items that they needed to do before we got stuck into the horticultural part. That there needed to be some new road signs, street signs. There needed to be a repaired wall on the Warwick Road side of the triangle. There needed to be repairs to the pavement, because there was a spring coming up and it was causing flooding in the road. And then we set to in our horticultural work by first of all looking at the peripheral areas. The one peripheral area was at the side of a house on Gospel Lane and the corner of Alton Boulevard East. It was outside a fence which belonged to the house on that corner, and we got to and we dug it over, and it's become a flower bed, a wildflower bed. And also we've grassed some of it over, and we've also underplanted with daffodils and tulips. And also the chap who comes along, we call him Robin of the Sunflowers. He comes and plants sunflowers on the fence. So now you can go along and see there's beautiful sunflowers.
Beautiful.
Another corner of Gospel Lane, it was owned by the council, which we didn't know at the time. We've got sort of dead weeds all over the wall, and it was just terrible. So we got to again, and we dug it over, we planted with plants all around the edge of the wall, and we also grassed it over in the centre. And we put items on the wall such as this Erigeron Carvinskianus, which we've got on that wall, and we've got on the main wall running down onto the Warwick Road, which is beautiful. It just makes the area look so lovely. And then we decided that we would create a central bed in the triangle, the main grassed area, so that it would give more impact. I think it was a suggestion of one of the RHS judges that we should do this. So we mapped it out in the same sort of triangular shape, but a little bit more rounded, and we decided to put a raised brick-built bed. And again, that was another challenge, because A, we needed the materials, B, we needed someone to build it. So along comes Jerome from Acocks Green, who'd done some work in his house. We weren't sure he was a proper wall builder, but he came along and he built the wall. E.H. Smith gave us the bricks again. Waits, the council contractor, gave us the money for the concrete footings. The chappie at the car wash let us cut bricks outside his premises and let us use his electrics. And also there's another chappie called Jeff on the corner. When lockdown came, we needed somewhere else to cut the bricks. So Jeff came in and said, yes, you can cut the bricks here.
Wow.
So it was a real combination of all the people in the area, all the businesses in the area, and all the community in the area, all coming together and chipping in and doing something to make this project, the entrance into Birmingham, a great project.
Wonderful, and it really, you can tell that there's a real community spirit about it.
Yes.
Even when you walk in here. I mean, we're here at the Woodcock allotment. So what exactly are you doing now at the moment here?
Well, you can see that obviously we're preparing the ground ready for planting. Basically what happened is the RHS theme for this year was Grow Social.
Right.
This was to encourage the over 50s who maybe were homebound, didn't like coming out, but needed the exercise and wanted to meet people.
Right.
So we thought we would use this allotment, which the council had offered us earlier this year, to facilitate that service for these people. So what we're aiming to do is people who haven't gardened before, they can learn how to grow vegetables. They can even grow cut flowers if they want to. They can, you know, it's just amazing what you can do with this. We have raised beds. You can grow perennials. You can learn about taking cuttings, you can learn about sowing seeds. We're also going to have a polytunnel, so again it would save us some money as well. In that we'll be able to overwinter begonia tubers, we'll be able to overwinter geraniums, and it will save us money by the fact that we can sow seeds earlier in the year. We can bring the begonias on ready for planting out into our planters. It's phenomenal, the type of thing that we can do here. It's just unbelievable. Yeah.
So if you are over 50 and you're in the area and you want to get involved, how do we contact you?
Well, you can contact me directly if you want. It's fran.lee47@yahoo.co.uk, or you can contact me through the Acocks Green Neighbourhood Forum. They have a page that's devoted to the Bloom monthly activities. So you can go in there and look at what we do every month, and you can see whether maybe that's the sort of thing for you or it's not the sort of thing you want to do. It's as simple as that, really. Just, do you want to get involved? Do you want to come out and socialise? Do you want to be out in the fresh air rather than stuck inside with the lockdown? It's just a no-brainer, really. It's best to be out in the open, meeting with people and enjoying life.
Wonderful.
And seeing something come of it, lovely flowers and vegetables.
Wonderful.
What more could you want?
Yeah. Well, you know, Fran, it's really nice and a privilege for me to be able to meet that person responsible for that amazing Acocks Green roundabout, that all through the year there's something beautiful happening. So thank you so much to you and your team of volunteers. Thank you for all the work that you've put into Acocks Green. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for taking time out for me and to listen to my story. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Fran. Hope you enjoyed the show. And so, to finish off, some music from Stony Lane Studios. See you next time. Those leaves of brown came tumbling down, remember that September in the rain. The sun went out just like a dying ember that September in the rain. With every word of love I hear you whisper, the raindrops seem to sing the sweet refrain. Though spring is here It's still September. It's September in the rain. With every word of love, I hear you whisper. The raindrops seem to sing a sweet refrain. Well, let me tell you, though spring is here to me, it's still September. It's September in the